I cut open an Australian strawberry. The outside was bright red, but the inside was completely white. I compared it to an imported strawberry. The imported one was red all the way through. So I sent both to a genetics lab. What they found shocked me. I was buying strawberries for breakfast, just like I do every week. They look perfect. Bright red, shiny, beautiful. But when I cut one open, the inside was white. Not red, not even pink. Pale white flesh. I thought maybe it wasn't ripe, but it was perfectly soft, sweet smell, ready to eat. So I cut open more, every single one, white inside. I went to different supermarkets, Coles, Woolworths, even local farmers markets. All the Australian strawberries, white inside. But I remembered imported strawberries, the ones from California or Mexico. They were red all the way through. So what's going on? Are Australian strawberries different? Is this normal? Is it healthier or worse? I started researching strawberry varieties. Turns out there are over 600 varieties of strawberries. And they don't all look the same inside. So I took them to a genetics lab. I bought strawberries from 6 different sources, 3 Australian varieties. Albion, grown in Queensland. Red Gauntlet, grown in Victoria. Camarosa, grown in New South Wales. And 3 imported varieties, California Albion, Mexican Camarosa, Spanish variety. I wanted to see if the white interior was genetic, or if it was about how they were grown. Strawberries get their red color from anthocyanins. That's a type of pigment. The same pigment that makes blueberries blue and makes red cabbage purple. In strawberries, anthocyanins usually concentrate in 2 places, the outer flesh, just under the skin, and sometimes throughout the whole fruit. But in these Australian strawberries, the anthocyanins only developed on the outside. The inside stayed white. First, I cut all 6 varieties open. All 3 Australian varieties, white inside, pale, almost no red pigment. The California strawberries, deep red all the way through. Mexican strawberries, also red inside. Spanish variety, red, but lighter than the others. The difference was obvious. The lab extracted DNA from all 6 varieties. They took tissue samples from the white interior and from the red interior. Then they isolated the DNA. This process took about 48 hours. Once we had the DNA, we could analyze it. The lab sequenced specific genes. They were looking for genes that control anthocyanin production, particularly a gene called MYB10. MYB10 is the master regulator. It tells the strawberry to make red pigment. In the California strawberries, MYB10 was highly active throughout the whole fruit. In the Australian strawberries, MYB10 was only active in the outer layers. It was like the gene turned off as you go deeper into the fruit. But genetics wasn't the only factor. Australian strawberries grow in intense heat. Queensland summers can hit 35 degrees, sometimes 40. That's much hotter than California or Europe. When strawberry plants get too hot, they prioritize survival. They put energy into protecting the outside of the fruit, the skin, the outer flesh. But they don't waste energy making the inside red, because the inside is protected. Red pigment acts like sunscreen. It protects from UV damage. But the inside doesn't need sunscreen. It's already shaded. But there is another reason. Australian farmers breed specifically for appearance. They want strawberries that look perfect, bright red outside, firm, uniform size. Because Australian consumers buy with their eyes, they pick the reddest punnets, the shiniest berries. So breeders select for external color, not internal color. Over decades of selective breeding, Australian varieties developed intense external color, but lost internal pigment. It's a genetic trade-off. More red outside, less red inside.
So I organized a blind taste test. 20 people, 3 strawberry varieties. They didn't know which was which. First, Australian strawberry, white inside.
Most people said it was sweet, very sweet actually, but mild flavor. Second, California strawberry, red inside.
People said it had more strawberry flavor, slightly tart, more complex. Third,
Mexican strawberry.
this one had mixed reviews, sweet but less intense.
15 out of 20 preferred the California strawberry for flavor, but 12 out of 20 preferred the Australian strawberry for sweetness. So we tested sugar content using a tool called a refractometer. It measures dissolved sugars. Australian strawberries averaged 9.5 bricks. That's very sweet. California strawberries averaged 7.2 bricks, still sweet but lower. Australian strawberries had 30% more sugar. The heat stress causes this. Plants produce more sugars to protect cells from heat damage. It's called osmoprotection. Sugar helps cells survive stress.
But does color affect nutrition?
We sent samples to a nutrition lab. They tested for key nutrients. Vitamin C levels. Australian strawberries, 58 milligrams per 100 grams. California strawberries, 59 milligrams per 100 grams. Basically the same. Then antioxidant capacity. The red strawberries had more anthocyanins. Those are antioxidants. But the Australian strawberries had more vitamin E and more phenolic compounds. Overall antioxidant capacity? Almost identical. Different antioxidants, but similar total benefit.
Here's what's interesting. The anthocyanins in red strawberries, they're good antioxidants, but they're not the only antioxidants.
White interior strawberries compensate. They produce different protective compounds. More vitamin E, more phenolic acids, more flavonols.
Different strategy, same protection. It's evolutionary adaptation. Plants find different ways to survive.
I also tested shelf life. I bought both types, kept them refrigerated, same conditions. Day 1, both perfect.
Day 3, both still good.
Day 5, the imported strawberries started getting soft.
Day 7, imported strawberries had visible mold. Australian strawberries were still firm, still fresh.
Australian strawberries lasted 2-3 days longer.
So what's the truth? White interiors aren't bad.
They're the result of breeding for external appearance and adaptation to hot climates. Nutritionally, they're basically the same. They're actually sweeter.
And they last longer.
But they have milder strawberry flavor. When you're buying strawberries, don't judge by interior color. Look for fresh green leaves, firm texture, sweet smell. Avoid mushy spots or mold. White inside doesn't mean unripe or less nutritious. It's just genetics and climate. Strawberries are different everywhere, bred for local conditions, local preferences. That diversity is actually good. Different varieties, different strengths. If you learned something new, subscribe. I'm investigating more Australian produce mysteries. Next, why Australian capsicums have thicker walls than imported ones. The genetics will surprise you. And remember, white inside doesn't mean worse inside. Thanks for watching.